Welcome to the Shift podcast, where midlife, medicine, and mindset meet. We're breaking the silence around women's health and simplifying the path to feeling strong, clear, and better than ever. Hosted by me, Heidi Swap, with insights from Dr. Vohn Watts and stories from real women, the Shift podcast is here to challenge the narrative, empower you with information, and create a new vision for your next chapter. Welcome back to the Shift podcast. This is an exciting one because look, I've got these two handsome guys that are going to answer all the questions that we have. Like, what are men thinking? No, I don't really know.
You want to know? You know what's funny? You all know, your wife is, what are you thinking right now? Because in their mind, there's always just a million things going. And like, nothing. You're not thinking about anything? No, like literally, there's nothing in my head right now. They don't believe you.
I cannot even relate with that.
They don't believe, like, you're not thinking about anything? Like, no, literally, I'm sitting here just staring at the wall. Like, there's nothing in my head right now.
I'm hungry.
Yeah,
food.
I'm just thinking about the hamburger I'm going to eat.
Yeah.
You guys, today we have Vohn, Dr. Vohn, and I'm just going to spell it for you because it's so helpful, Vohn. And we have John.
John.
John. And they were just joking before we started that instead of a Ron John surf shop, maybe we need a Vohn John.
Vohn John. I like it.
Yeah. Or something. If this podcasting doesn't work out, maybe you can have some.
I'll move back to San Diego, the home of my birth, and that's the backup plan.
Vohn Johns.
So as usual, we have Dr. Watts here with us to offer us insight and inspiration, and I have a very caffeinated beverage, so.
Here, this is a judgment-free zone here.
This is the 80-20 rule.
80-20, right? 80-20.
It's fine. And with us we have John Busch. And John Busch, if you've listened to other podcasts where we had Lauren Busch here, this is the man, the myth, the legend.
The hunky husband.
That's a lot to live with.
That keeps Lauren.
Okay, just keep going. That's all right.
Going.
This is the reason Lauren has 9 kids. Oh. You can see this guy right here.
He's like, thank you. Thank you very much.
Start blushing.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Anyway, these guys are just a power couple. And when we were kind of discussing topics, of course, Lauren meets with a lot of patients in her private practice, in her virtual practice, which we've talked about a few times. Called Wellness Off Script. And one of the things that she brought up is how helpful it is to have husband support when women are dealing with this time of perimenopause and menopause. And, I think that it gets talked about a lot. And if you're a woman of this age, you're getting probably the memes in your feed, or you're getting like the divorce coaches in your feed. I feel like I get equal parts like divorce coaches.
That's a weird algorithm.
A lot of things in this realm.
And this gets talked about a lot. Yeah. The fact that in this period of our lives, when women... And we've talked about it a lot, even in the in our hormone episodes, that women just start putting up with less. That's kind of what it looks like or sounds like. Or she just isn't the same. Yeah. She's not the same. And the husbands are going, all right, I've seen this woman go through a lot in our relationship, but this is wild. This is wild what's happening. And so I really appreciate John coming. And I'm just going to back up. And if you haven't listened to Lauren, the first episode we did with Lauren, we brought Lauren on in here to talk about hormone replacement. She talked about after having 9 kids. Yes, Lauren and John have 9 children. She talked about that really difficult period of really losing herself before she realized that she needed to have a hysterectomy, that she then needed to go on hormone replacement. And she does talk about John in that episode a little bit. Have you listened to that
I
episode?
haven't.
Yeah, don't.
Okay.
No, I'm just teasing. She says such nice things about you. You should probably listen to
Okay.
her because we know that she just loves and appreciates you.
It's
so
just
much.
good to know that a few of the things are like I'm doing in the right direction. So that's good confirmation. So,
Yeah,
I'm
you
excited
are
to be here.
you are so awesome. I'm gonna have you tell a little bit about yourself, or maybe we could have Vohn tell about John. But I do know that John has his own podcast. He is an advocate for men and men's health,
Yeah.
and
Physical and mental.
yeah,
Love it.
right. And so I don't know. Do you want to talk about him, or should I have him talk about him?
I'm just going to spend like the next 5 minutes talking about how hunky, John is. So I'm like, I'll let John.
Vaughn has a little bit of a man crush, in case you haven't noticed that. But I mean, why would
No, I mean, you know what, John?
we talked about these guys can't go out together because they get hit on.
Here. I'm gonna,
They get hit on when they.
I am a gay magnet.
We know.
I told you. They
We know,
love me.
and the gays are intimidated of John, so we don't know.
John, why don't you go ahead and tell because I know a lot
us
about
your
your guys'
spiel.
history, but you have a much bigger history than even
Yeah.
I know, because you started even further back as a roughneck.
yeah.
And so you just dive in, man.
Got a cool background. It's an interesting background. My dad was a 40-year factory worker. So like the entrepreneurial thing is all really unique and different for me. I learned that I did have uncles. I had like Uncle Tony that ran the barbershop and Uncle Vince had the insurance agency. So like this kind of cool Italian heritage of like people that did have their own businesses.
You said Vinny and who?
Tony had the barbershop, him and Phil. And then Vince had, Uncle Carmen had the restaurant and Uncle Jerry had a restaurant. And then Vince had the insurance agency.
These do sound. It actually
That's about
sounds
as
like there
Italian
might.
as you
Kind
get.
of cool.
I've got some friends and like
This might be an underground ring, actually.
the names you just listed off. I'm like, there's like 3 of those names I know, and my sister-in-law's Italian family right there, like Vinny and Carmen. I'm like,
Yeah, I love it. My dad's as stubborn as they come. He's 100% German. My mom's Italian. And I'm like, it's just an interesting blend, right? So we had the Italian side of the family. And then, on my dad's stubbornness. So he spent 40 years working assembly lines, doing HVAC. And I saw that. And I'm like, that's a really hard way to go. Like I said, I'll beat the body up. I saw the blessing in it, like, right, this kind of consistent schedule that I think a lot of guys like and appreciate. And I'm sure we'll dive more into in this episode. Like, I learned from him, like, how work ethic. I learned how important the family was. He was there to coach my ball games. Like I saw a lot of dads or a lot of my friends that didn't get that from their dad. They didn't get a dad that was just present. Sometimes just being enough is, sufficient for kids. A lot of kids that just have that absent father. So I was grateful for that. I went to college to manage golf courses. Interesting career. I liked golf.
You went to college to that's a major.
I have a degree in turf management. I can grow grass really, really well. Like
this is new. I did not know this.
It's a technical, it's not.
I could have used you about a year ago, John.
You really have.
I literally could have used you about a year ago.
What's those settings on the lawnmower?
And all of that knowledge, I would tell you, go buy sod. Like it's not like, we started one cool golf course renovation, right? Like grew seed up from the ground up. I'm like, it's kind of a cool process, but like no desire to do. Just get sod, right? And all of that, just get sod. My background took me from there to the oil refinery for 6 years until they tried to kill me, and that was a little bit crazy.
On purpose or
No,
accidentally?
you got to tell that story a little bit because, like I said, John started as a roughneck here.
Yeah, it was 6 years in the oil refinery, swing shift, 12-hour hours. So I was on a crude oil unit, and next to us was an ethylene oxide complex, and that complex was one of the last in the country that hadn't exploded yet. So we were like.
Do you watch Landman?
No.
Yes.
I probably shouldn't admit that I watched that show.
Oh no, I love that show. Sorry, I love Landman. I love Yellowstone.
I mean that wife. We should do just an episode.
I love her character.
She is a wild one,
awesome.
right?
You know, hang on. This is a little tangent here. For those that haven't seen it,
tangent.
this is one thing I love, and my wife mentioned this about Landman. Why she really likes the show because if you look at the women, the wife and the daughter, drop dead gorgeous, beautiful women, right? And usually in characters, she's like super type A, and she's bossing people around and stuff. But they made all of the women in that show are extremely kind. They're not these bitchy mean girls. They're all really nice.
Except for to their husbands.
Yeah, well, the
She
husband,
is not nice to her husband.
but he's also kind of his own thing. But she volunteers at
she
old
does
people
volunteers
home,
with it. She does.
but
She does get the old
They
home.
paint the women in a very good light. you know, which is really, my wife was like, finally some characters where it's like, you can be beautiful and kind.
It's about oils, and they have lots of explosions.
Yes.
So
Back there. Yeah. Crude oil unit. Yeah. It's just interesting time of life. But I got a perspective to kind of peek at my legacy in my early 20s that I don't think a lot of people get. So working really late one night shift, and we had a few things going wrong and didn't really know until afterwards what had happened. But you have like your little blockhouse computer room and stuff that you kind of go out, do your rounds, check on things, make sure stuff's not exploding, and the explosive stuff is staying in the pipes and the pressures are good and all of that. So did that, came in, the doors rattled, and went outside to see just these great big fireballs just launching. So somewhere there was a leak in a pipe that found the heaters are like a big barbecue grill, just with open flames on the bottom, and found an ignition point and just set something blazing. That wasn't initially the problem. I learned in a refinery, fire is not bad. Like, you want stuff to burn because it's burning the fuel source, right?
Right.
But what the problem was that it was filling up this other vessel, which is the oxide. So the government used to use EO bombs and drop them from the C-100, and it'd be like level a city. It's like 7-mile blast radius stuff. Like, so this vessel with this stuff in it is like getting near safety release level where it would just release to the atmosphere. Well, now you have a problem because you have an open flame. So that is where the emergency came in. Like, it would have leveled that entire plant, city, town. My parents lived 3 miles away. Like, it would have leveled everything.
Is that like a gas that you can't smell and everything?
Oxide is weird. So it's ethylene and oxide. Ethylene's like super cold. It was like negative. I forget that. I mean, I don't remember the details about oxide other than, yeah, it goes boom really well. Super dangerous. So that night, we didn't know. It looked super sketchy there for a long time because they weren't able to get in, isolate the fuel source, and like get the fire down, control that vessel. So it was a few brave people that went in complete like scuba gear and had to go in and do what they did, and a couple of brave heroes to even walk out. But it looked like
did
a
it blow
lot
up?
worse. It didn't. They kept it. That initial explosion was like the only thing, and they were able to eventually isolate. But it was like 15 fire trucks, and super scary night. I remember the phone call to Lauren. That was one I hope nobody ever has to really make. But I didn't know I was walking out of there, and I called her and was like, "I love you. I love the kids." It's the middle of the night, 2, 3 in the morning. She's sleeping. If I don't see you again, like, do a good job raising them. Like, I had to kind of get one of those phone calls. So I had
that's
some.
what you said. Do a good job raising them.
Yeah, I'm like I had some moments with God that night, and I was like, what do you want from me in life? Like, bring me through this, and I'll just I'll be vulnerable. I'll open myself up to whatever this path is that you're going to show me. So since then, he's been like, well, it comes through lessons and a lot of hardship and I'm like, sweet. What did I ask for? What did I pray for? And I promised my end of the bargain would be upheld. So yeah, my journey since then has been like, right, I knew I didn't want to do that. Went in the financial world for about a decade, and then realized that was not my path, and found myself doing a lot of really cool things over the last decade with supplements and the health space and just educating other people. And then 5 years ago, did a men's retreat and hosted that. And that was exciting. So I've just kind of been in this space of chasing different passions and exploring and hustling and figuring out how to take care of the kids and try to be a decent husband and father along the way. So it's been an awesome journey. Now we've got, one married, baby is 6, and oldest is 21. So kind of these different chapters of almost adult children now. So.
Well, you're doing something right as a husband when you're not around your wife, and anytime your wife talks about you, it's like, last night, right? He wasn't there,
nice thing.
And but you say, oh yeah, no, oh yeah, my hunky guy husband, or like it's like it's always positive stuff. You only hear so you can see it's like, wow, you guys been together how long?
She didn't say that to me.
That's okay though.
It's okay.
She says that everybody else.
Hold on to your confidence.
How long have you guys been married?
Nice. Yeah, 21 years.
Okay, so 21 years later, 9 kids later, and you can tell she is just so into you.
Yeah,
which is awesome, because you want to know what? You don't get to see that necessarily with a bunch of relationships. I mean, a lot of times at a certain point, you kind of get into the, people can get into the roommate stage, and you're just going through life, and then to see a couple that 20 some years later that are just so into each other is.
But
it's fun to watch.
hard because it's easy to talk nice about somebody when they're not there, right? And I notice this a lot. Even we don't tell our kids the wonderful things we say about them when they're not there. We don't tell it to them. It's kind of a good reminder to us to tell people the good things.
Absolutely.
That
She does. I was totally joking. She does. She's awesome.
I'm probably not.
The feeling's mutual.
That was not modeled in my life, and so I don't do it.
Yeah, we follow a lot of patterns. But I'm excited to talk more today because there's a lot of changes and shifts that behind the scenes I've seen her go through that I've had to learn new skills and how to support her through all the health changes she's had for the last 7 years. Gosh, I probably lost count on vein surgeries and then the hysterectomy and different things that we've just battled. And we're still like, there's still other things in the future that just try to help her find and hold some grace for, because I'm like, you were pregnant for over a decade. Like, your body has gone through it. That's a lot of trauma, a lot of difficulty. Yeah. And like, it's going to take some time to really heal and mend. And so give yourself some space. So there's a lot of days I tell her, I'm like, I've got to love you enough for both of us most days. And well, that's okay.
And that's why I brought that up, because I mean, I've been married this year will be 25 years. Awesome. And I'll be candid. We're that relationship with all my friends. I have a buddy reaches out and says, you know, he's like, great, bro, I just want to let you know, I love you and I love Bunny. And you guys are just, you're amazing. Like, I don't have a single friend that has a relationship like you guys. Like, you guys totally are into each other still.
Special.
And so, you know, and relationships have them flow and stuff, and you learn. And by you learn, I mean, the husband is usually learning. I'm constantly learning.
Yeah.
But my point is, you can't have a relationship like that where your wife, whenever she's talking about you and you're not around, you see her light up and you can just tell, oh my gosh, this lady's still in love with this guy, right? Yeah. You can't have that relationship if you're not a certain kind of husband. Yeah. Meaning you're a husband that has done this, or you're obviously very understanding, or you're also attentive to some things. So that's why I kind of brought it up, because, and that's what's kind of probably kind of like transition into what we're talking about here, is how you've been able to maintain this kind of relationship. What are the things as a husband that you were doing? Mm-hmm. Because you're clearly doing things as a husband that maybe some other husbands don't do, right? So
good question. So
I will say this. The thing that gets talked about a lot right now is how menopause or perimenopause causes divorces. Yeah. And that the divorce rate is super high.
Over 50, it's really age. High.
And some of the things to just that I think to just throw out there is that transition into you're a long ways from an empty nest. Yes. Which is probably going to work in your favor. Because that transition that a woman goes, you know, amid you going through changes in your body and that you're not really aware of, you don't know what's going on. Your kids are going away, which is changing your identity. It's changing your role. It's changing your comfort level. Maybe your husband is retiring or he's around more and you're like, what? Why are you here? Why are you questioning what I'm doing with my, why are you asking?
A lot of COVID divorces, right? People were forced home and like forced to like into their bubbles and they're like, I don't like you.
All right, we're gonna spill a little more guilty pleasures. Have you seen the TV show Shrinking?
No.
Okay, it's it's kind of a comedy, but it's really funny. Harrison Ford's in it. Some other guys.
Oh, actually, you know the thing that's really so interesting. Good. I actually brought up something about how you look at someone who's a shrink and you expect them to have their crap together.
Oh, have you seen this show?
Only the first.
He's an absolute mess.
15 minutes of that episode.
So
and
this
Eric
guy's
was like, click.
This guy's a show. Oh no, it's a good show. It is really good. But he's a shrink, and his life is an absolute mess. I think his wife passed away, and he has a teenage daughter, and he just goes off the rail. I mean, he lost his wife, right? I mean, and so it kind of goes through that. But the neighbors were there to really help with the daughter. But I brought that up. It's kind of funny because the neighbor husband finally divorced. Or not divorced, finally retired, and now he's home. And the wife's like,
can't stand up.
You need to leave and go do something. You can't be around. You're starting to bug me.
You're driving me crazy.
It is funny. So he just kind of funny he said that, and he just kind of looked at her and said, well, I've been out of the house for almost 30 years, every single day. Yeah. So if you don't want to be around me, that's okay. Just find something else to do out of the house. But I'm not leaving the house now. I get to sit in the house and hang out. But it really is a real thing because, you know, when you're not, there's a number of things you have. It could be a number of things. It could be that you have also around the same time, you have some teenage kids. Yep. Some people are retiring. You have massive hormone changes. maybe you're not used to. Maybe you're married to a spouse who they're hardworking and they work a lot of hours. So you're not used to spending a lot of time every single day. And so now it's 24/7 and you're like, oh my gosh, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're dealing with your parents dying or getting sick and taking care of them, which crops up emotions and it brings up imbalance of responsibilities and
think about it. Okay, assume that you're not going through or your hormones are totally regulated, and you're dealing with older parents, teenage kids,
just life period,
and period.
Yep.
That's the emotional stuff going on, and now throw in on top of that, now your hormones are totally screwed up.
Yeah.
And what that's going to do, that's going to so massively magnify and really magnify those emotions and how you feel. And I've had women report to me like this verbatim. I know that the words that are coming out of my mouth are mean. And I know that I'm like, whatever, like they know what they are doing is like this. She's like, and at the same time,
I cannot stop myself.
I can't stop myself. Like literally the hormones can mess with you so much that they're just like, I know I'm being mean and I just can't help it. Cause like, I'm not trying to be, but in the reality of it is it is a chemical change in your body.
It is.
So your hormones start changing. That does change how you feel things, how you deal with things.
And I also think like from a interesting thought is that when you have little kids, you're not paying as much attention to like little things that maybe aren't getting done, or you don't really have time to like zoom out, you know? So one thing that's tricky about getting a little more time to yourself and zooming out is you can get a little bit more like notice things that are not quite right and focus on it. Do you know what I mean? And so, and I think that happens from both sides.
Agreed.
And then your bodies aren't quite the same. Maybe sex isn't the same anymore. So the things that maybe did work aren't, and the demands are changing. And I mean, it's just a time of change.
Well, and you have to realize too, from a man's perspective, you think about this. You know, obviously for the woman, not only does sex doesn't feel good, but I mean, there's things going on with your reproductive organs, right? Like maybe it's dry. Like not that it's just like, I don't think about sex, but like in some cases, it doesn't feel good, right? It's painful. Yeah. And a lot of the husbands don't quite understand this if you haven't really had a real full-blown conversation about perimenopause and all that. And so what you're not understanding is in some cases, this isn't to put anything on the woman, but it just, and guys, if your wife is over the age of, is getting over 35, 36, you got to look for these signs of perimenopause, because if they have these signs, now's the time where you have to come in and be a lot more thoughtful, understanding, don't take things personally, because as a guy, if your wife doesn't want to be with you, you would kind of take that personally, right? So now what you're doing is the husband is like kind of taking that personally and, starting to question things in his head. Is she not attracted to me anymore?
Shove it down.
And so you're thinking about all these things and it has nothing to do with you. Like she's having all these changes in her body. Yeah. And because there's the lack of communication in some instances, the husband's focused on the wrong thing. He's focused on himself and thinking that there's like, what's going on? Like, what's wrong with me? And that's not the case. So it's super important to be communicative, because I know us husbands can be, it can take us a few times to get the hint, right? Yes. But we want to know, right? Like I've been very blessed to be married to a woman who's, I'll tell you what, like communication skills. Oh my gosh, like this lady knows how to communicate. I'm like, will you write this email for me? Because it's like, I could never have written that, right? So she's been very communicative throughout our marriage, which is part of the reason why we have a really good marriage. Because it's like, there's a problem and like we just talk about it, or if there's something going on, like she communicates it. So she started going through perimenopause and she's telling me, she's like, hey, it's like, and she would tell me flat out like, hey, I don't take it personally. I just like, it just doesn't, it hurts right now, or it's uncomfortable. So she's communicating that to me, and I'm like, oh, okay, babe, you're fine. Like, just go hang out and go watch a movie. Like, you know what I mean? There's other things we can do. And when you do that, it gives us as a husband the opportunity to be sensitive and thoughtful.
For sure.
So Lauren she's in this age.
Yeah.
So how have you managed that, or what have you seen, and then what have you seen that not only have you done
what I've done wrong, what I've learned,
both. Honestly, both, right?
The biggest thing that's coming to mind first is like just what I learned from my dad is like just showing up for your kids is awesome. So when we put that in this context, it's like just being present. So start to be more aware. Start to notice the things that are frustrating her, or triggering her. Just like expand your awareness, challenge yourself. Like men, they're always looking for a task, they're always looking for something to fix. They want to be challenged. Challenge yourself to actually try to, like, you're not trying to figure out what's going on in the mind, but observe, like, right? What did I miss in previous days or previous years that I can be more aware of? And then I started, like, in order for, I think, a couple to have what you're talking about, really healthy communication, there's no way a woman's opening up if there's not safety. So the man's job is to create this safety net, and you're blazing a trail, right? Give her a path to follow. Do what you need to, right? Take care of yourself, kind of put yourself, get up, do the workout, do what you need to for you, and then give somebody like a little bit of a track to follow. And I started getting out in front of a few things for her, and I realized that, like, I noticed that she likes a hot drink in the morning. I'm like, it's not, do you want one, right? So you change the do question to like a, would you rather? So I've done a lot of sales, so this is a little bit more of the sales brain and maybe some sales training for the guys. Like, the questions are, they're amazing because they immediately dispel the ego. And there's not, like, if you ask it, and you have to be sincere and authentic in how you ask a question. But I think that women know, and they can see through it if you're not. So good luck. If you're not, you're going to be toast. They will rip you apart. So be sincere, be authentic, but hey, would you rather this or that? Like, it's kind of a alternative choice question, right? Or an A, B, like, not a yes or no. So stay away from the yes or no questions.
This works in parenting too. Like,
absolutely,
kids,
it does.
Most of the time we don't know what we want,
Right.
but we could make a choice.
Yes.
And so I love this. This is brilliant. I'm like, okay, I'm already like thinking of the people I'm going to send this podcast.
You know what? Honestly, ladies, I'm sure your husband doesn't listen to this podcast, but make them listen to this episode because they'll be glad they did. I'm lucky just because I have a little bit of the cheat code because I'm a doc and I already know the signs and symptoms. So I was the one to actually point out to my wife, like, hey, like, maybe we should get your hormones checked, and then she, I want to get my hormones checked.
Yeah, I had no idea.
When she's going through it, right? But also, working with patients and working with women dealing with these things, sometimes as a doctor, you're also the bartender, and they're sharing, more than just their health. They're sharing like other things that are happening in the relationship because they know it's related to what's going on.
Well, plus you've got patient confidentiality.
Right. Well, but what I was going to say is like, husbands, look out for this thing. If your wife is over the age of 35 and you start noticing a few things, you need to understand that there's a good chance she's starting in perimenopause. And now's the time, more than ever, whether you're already this kind of husband or not, this is the time that you need to be the husband. Now you need to be more thoughtful, more sensitive, more understanding, and also non-reactive. Yeah. And here are some of the things. If you just notice that, like, man, she just can't seem to get out of bed she's getting out of bed late and she normally wakes up early. She's tired and she's never really been someone who just has fatigue. She is maybe getting upset at some things that you're like, okay, that's like the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Like, why are you so upset? You would never be upset about something like that. This is out of character for you, right? You start seeing some of these kind of things when you notice if whatever your normal sex life is, if that starts to alter, all these are symptoms and signs that she's probably going through perimenopause. Yep. And it's very important to know, especially as a husband, because let's just be honest, we're big dumb animals. I'll just be candid, right? And so if you're not paying attention to this and you're not looking for these signs and you're kind of like pressuring your wife, like, hey, we got to be together. Like, we haven't been together in a week, or and you're pressuring. Now what you're doing, because, let's be candid, most women drop hints to guys and they assume that you're going to get the hints.
Yeah.
And ladies, I just want to share this. Look right straight in the camera. We are not that smart. You can give the most obvious hints of, I don't care what it is. Yeah. We're not going to get it. Unless you just flat out say what it is you're trying to hint to, we're not going to get the hint, right? So
but the truth is they don't know now, right? So at this time, they don't know.
Right. So let me finish just a quick thought because I want to hear what you think about this. Is if you're not getting the hint, guy, which they're not going to, and you haven't really communicated this, and now your husband is kind of like really like making you kind of pressuring, or not pressuring, just like kind of like, oh, like, hey, we haven't been together. Like, when are we going to be together? Well, what's going to happen is your wife is going to start to build a little bit of a resentment to you because you're so insensitive, because it doesn't feel good, and it doesn't feel good. And so why would you want to do that to me?
Yeah.
And the guy, believe me, big dumb animals, but we're just like, oh, I thought that was last week. It didn't feel good. I didn't realize it just period. Like, you know what I mean? So if the more communication you can have with your husband too, like, hey, you know what? I think this is happening, or I feel like I'm kind of going in perimenopause. Explain, because I can tell you most guys have no clue what that means. Mm-hmm. Then what you do is you give your husband the opportunity to create an even safer space, be more sensitive, be more understanding, more thoughtful. Mm-hmm. And if you just kind of hint your way along, I'm going to promise you they're not going to get it. They're never going to get it. And you're going to get probably more upset with your husband because he's not getting it. And now you're going to take that as him being insensitive or being selfish or things like that. And there, believe me, there's nothing going on here. They're just like, wait, what? What happened? Like, so that's a big part of it. The more you can communicate to your husband kind of what's going on, but husbands, look out for these symptoms too, because maybe your wife doesn't, maybe there's a wife that doesn't realize. And if you see these symptoms, you're like, hey, maybe we should get your hormones checked. You know, you're over 35, like depending on when you started your menstrual cycle is when you're going to start.
You can get away with that. I would not lead with that question, but I'm not going to tell
your
you
hormones
as
checked?
a doctor not to do that. Yeah, I wouldn't lead with that. I wouldn't.
No, I would.
We're going back to John's asking, would she rather have,
actually, you know what?
would she rather have,
we need to have you
drink?
Actually, because I can say that to my wife and she's like, oh, you're a doctor. You're always asking me if I want to get my labs run. So for a non-doctor guy.
Yes.
Obviously, there's two things we don't tell the wife ever is we never tell them to calm down.
Yeah.
And probably say, oh, maybe you should get your hormones checked. Probably not a good thing to say either. So,
okay.
There's
regular guy.
Two things we'll start with here. So one is our fathers were raised in a generation where it was not common to talk about their emotions. So there's not, I would say, a heightened level of emotional intelligence going to this thing. So you have to be thoughtful as a man that you have to, that's why I said observe first. Like you have to really take the time to learn a few new things and to put it in man speak, to put it in the context for men. Like we're fixers. We want to fix things. So you're going to have to learn how to put some new tools in your toolbox. And I want to be very clear about this. These tools are not for your wife. These are for you. So your wife does not want to be fixed. You have to put the toolbox down when then we come back and talk about the wife. Like it's totally separate. These two tools are ones that are going to serve you. They'll help you with your kids. They'll help you in life. But man, you've got to just observe, put some new tools in there. And then I think you'll get a little bit keyed in. The second thing I want to tell you guys is that this has no room for ego. Like she's changing. So are you. I hope so. Like over a few decades of marriage, I hope I'm a better husband. I hope I'm a better father. I hope I'm a better, leader of the house. Like absolutely. She's changing. So are you. So focus on what you're doing and what you're working on and what you can do. And then show up in ways to meet her where she is, like just kind of support, right? It looks more like support. And I think when you ask some simpler questions at the beginning, what you want to maybe have is a deeper conversation, she'll feel safe enough to share that with you, like, right? But there needs to be that kind of, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that in my experience, there needs to be that safe bubble first. Otherwise, you're going to use this against me, or this is going to come up later in an argument, and that's going to be, it's going to backfire in some way, shape, or form. So
that's a good point, though. Yeah, this is not, we are fixers, but this is not something you can fix. As a husband, you cannot fix.
I promise you, if you
what's going into perimenopause.
And you get that mindset, like, oh, no, this is, there's something, your wife is not broken. She has been through trauma and childbirth. She has been through more difficult things than most men ever have to deal with. If we run around the house looking for a Band-Aid on a paper cut, like, I've seen my wife on her cycle, actively give presentations. I can say in my life as a man, I've never stepped on a stage in front of tons of other people actively bleeding. Like that's I appreciate her. I'm like, you are bad A. Like, that's awesome. Men would not do that. They'd be like, I've got to cancel today, paper cut. Like, it's not happening. Not doing
The human race would have not lasted this long.
How
if
long
the roles
have
reversed.
you known, like, what this cycle meant? Like we've had Lauren come in and talk to us about the cycle. When did she explain to you what the cycle
The phases
was doing in her body?
So my awakening was called an awakening.
I think awakening. I think it's a great word.
My awakening was around COVID. And since then, I would say more recently in the last 2 years, but I was a pretty crap of a husband. I think I was there. I think I was aware, but I was very selfish. Like for probably 16 or 17 years, I was worried about my workout and my goals and what I want. Like I just kind of going through motions and routines. Like I kind of had an awakening around COVID when I think I really opened my eyes and was like, if she's not the center of my universe, like I know when she goes out into the rest of the world and just going to get beat up, like who else is going to treat her like this queen that she's supposed to be? Like, I'm like, that's on me. Like I haven't been honoring her in the way that she needed to be. So I shifted that. And
what made you
changed.
think that you needed to treat her differently?
That's a really good question.
What was your aha moment? Was there an aha moment that you can think of, or did you just
around
came to
COVID was
realization?
like all of the, I mean, there were so many COVID divorces and people were forced back home, and we've done businesses together and we've worked together in other ways, but like, it's always been such a, like for the better part of our 21 years of marriage, we've hustled. And like, so we know how to work and we know how to get stuff, but we didn't
But she
always
took a hit.
Yeah. There was the health stuff, I think was the hit. It was probably around the times of like some of her first major surgeries. And I started to have the thoughts of like, okay, if something were to happen, I'm like, she didn't make it through this and I'm raising these kids, like, that's scary. Like, we need her. We need you. We need, like, no, guys, we're going to pray for mom. Like, let's come in. We got this, the vein surgeries and the history. Like, oh my gosh.
Like, I'm calling on heaven.
her. Like, there is so much.
You have
That's
no
the awakening.
I don't think women realize, like,
I think that's something that a lot of women would pride themselves maybe on handling things to the extent that nobody would know how hard it actually is.
Mm.
Like you just do it. And sometimes that backfires if you're a really high achiever. Because then what happens is everybody just expects really high performance in every area of your life. And there comes this point that for whatever reason, if it's hormones, if it's just too much, if things don't look the same, that your capacity diminishes. One of the things that Lauren said when we talked to her is that the very first thing she noticed when she realized that her body was betraying her, that something was wrong, because she was quite young, hitting that. And so in your 30s, I know she was 38 when she had this realization. In your 30s, you're not thinking, oh, I'm looking at obviously it's menopause. Even at 50, I wasn't thinking, oh, clearly this is menopause.
Well, I think even probably your average woman probably thinks, oh, menopause, when you get to your 50s.
That's when I'm 80. They didn't
realize it could start in the late 30s.
Where the guys didn't have emotional intelligence, the women weren't properly educated, and like this isn't something you have to suffer through. You can be supported. You can have other options. Like
you can feel great through menopause.
But here's Lauren, who is getting a degree, going back to school, changing careers, leveling up all the time with 9 kids. And she said her first clue was that she had diminished capacity. Mm. And I was like...
So that might be where the change comes from, right? Because it's not like...
Whoa. Because nobody's perception of her was ready to change. Yeah. And so everybody's expecting the same thing. And this very much is my experience. All of a sudden, I could not deliver like I could just 5 years ago. Yeah.
But the same expectations.
But the expectations the same, maybe higher.
Yeah.
Because everybody's leveling. Right? Because everybody's needing, So
I gather that.
So she mentioned in passing, podcast passing, that you also had noticed her capacity changing.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that was part of your... I love that you were like, oh, I maybe need to treat her better, rather than like, are you freaking lazy? Because it is, I would imagine, I mean, all of us as parents, what do you do when your 17-year-old kid won't get out of bed in the morning, right? Summer, she's still sleeping in, and you're like, freaking lazy kid. That, immediately when people aren't hustling, they're lazy, right?
Yeah.
And then we start wanting to remind them that they're lazy, and so if you have, I mean, I would imagine, and Lauren was having health issues that she'd never dealt
We've had
with.
a ton. Low iron her whole life. I mean, yeah. And then all the veins, the viscosities from all the pregnancies. Like, yeah, I've been like sitting in the waiting rooms a lot.
Explain what it was like to watch somebody who was achieving things without making it look like it was any effort, to seeing her struggle. Explain what that is like.
You have to appreciate the differences, because what would take me 2 or 3 hours, she'd get done in 5 minutes. And I'm like, okay, cool. So you do that thing. Clearly I should not. Like, we should just kind of create some clear,
You're good at what I'm good at.
A few years ago, we kind of had this analogy of like, it was like, oh man, there's been a lot of times we use this highway analogy, and there's been a lot of times that we were traveling down in opposite directions of the highway, just passing each other, and just friction and not good, right? And that's where a head-on collision, fights, all the things. And I realized
I can't
that,
even imagine them fighting.
It
was like, no, Diet Coke, no, Dr.
was like,
Pepper.
well, I want to know what this fight looks like.
Okay, keep going.
We were, I realized you can be in the same side of the highway, go in the same direction, but if you're in the same lane, you're still going to kind of bump into each other. So like, you've got yours here, I've got mine here. Like, we want to go the same direction, but like, you got your lane and I got mine. And we started to realize what your strengths were and what my strengths were. And they just kind of shifted responsibilities in all areas of life around those. And I'm like, it just felt good, because the things that are easy for her to do that were hard for me to do, like, I just appreciated that about her. So it got harder, right? When things get harder for her. But if your woman's changing, like, it's not a what's wrong with her kind of a problem. Like, she might be just burnt out. Like, she might just be at capacity and need you to step in. So I think us recognizing that is one of the greatest things we can do.
May I, and hopefully I'm not overstepping, you guys have had to confront gender roles.
Say that again?
You guys have had to confront gender roles.
Yeah.
And who's working, who's staying home, who's...
Yes. That's flip-flop to top. Yeah.
And, that didn't happen as much for our parents.
No.
Right? And so we didn't actually witness it. And some of us, can remain nameless, that's a tricky thing.
Yeah.
That adds another layer of,
For sure.
challenge.
Yeah.
in the freeway.
Yeah.
Analogy.
Even if I'm a pretty emotional guy, like pretty empathetic with the kids and stuff like that, there's still no replacement for mom. There's still times that, like, dad's here more because she's in the corporate world or doing what she needed to, or the times that I was gone, like, there's just no replacement. So I love both parties being able to show up and their strengths and their ways and their divine gifts. But learning what those are is important. Like, you've got, it's just those beautiful talents that you can lean into and you can connect. So I don't know. It's been exciting to think about, just kind of moving it towards like a wisdom category of, like, right, we can gather all, I can utilize the past, I can learn from it, But if I just keep doing the same thing, I'm like, nobody's great. This is not going to continue to benefit anybody. So you can see, I guess, when stuff's just not working anymore, and we get that recognition, do something about it. Like, don't just sit there, and do something about it. Make that conscious choice to actually shift your perspective. Drop your ego at the door. So what your wife, men, you'll love this. Like, what your wife does want is she does want you to fix, not her, everything outside of the home. She wants you to probably pack the car for the vacation. She wants you to probably plan the vacation, probably take care of some other things. And like, but when you come inside the house, like, drop the tool belt, drop the ego, and then create this nice safety net inside the home where you can be a vulnerable space for her to open up. And for me, that changed everything. She does want you to fix things. She does not want you to fix her. Like,
That's a great
way to say it. Yeah,
That's a great quote.
She definitely wants you to fix things. Not this thing. Like, it's not for you to fix.
She wants you to weed.
Not her thing. Yeah.
She wants you to shovel the snow.
And she
wants you to handle the things and not her. That is a great suggestion. I like that.
Well, and more importantly, this time is, you have, like I said, you have the different stages of life. And as a guy, you learn. Trust me, I've done a lot of learning. And you said we are definitely different people. Then I'm definitely a different person now. I'll be 50 this year. And from when I was 25, when I got married. Thank goodness. And that's all because of my wife. She trained me well, You
listened.
But as a guy, like I said, you want to fix things, and, then sometimes you want to be right. And at this stage of life, especially as you're having these transitions, it is not about being right. It is about being understanding. It's about
what is this?
listening.
What do you think
You know what I mean?
It's a good one.
Could you guys give
That's
some
a Pandora's box right there.
suggestions? I mean, I think one of the things that I would say, and I think a woman at all times in her life, no matter how much capacity she has or how much go-getter she is or how much she's done with, she always wants safety and needs safety and will thrive in safety at every stage. And so you were just saying, create a place of safety. That's like saying, and study 12 languages. And like, what does that mean for a man? What does that take? Because I don't even know.
Well,
I don't even know if I can define what safety.
I was going to ask, because why don't you tell us what would make you feel safe? But
I just know what not safe feels like. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm curious what you meant when you said you need to create safety, and that's kind of like, okay, perfect.
I think
I have no idea what that means.
I'll just kind of share my thing, and John, you can share yours.
And I'll tell you if you're right.
I'm sweating a little bit. Is it warm in here?
I wish I had learned this, in my 20s, but here we are in life. If you're listening to this podcast, it's because you're into trying self-improvement. We're never perfect, but as long as you're moving towards always wanting to be better. And I feel like for me, luckily that I have done that through life. It would have been cool to have learned this much earlier in life, or to have, in the Gen X generation, we're the feral generation. Like we didn't discuss emotions. You didn't have, your parents didn't sit down and have these talks and give you the cheat codes to life. It was no, because you can't do that. And it was no, because I said so, with no reason behind it, right? You're like, but you spent the night last night, so tonight, no. And I'm like, that makes no sense, right? So we didn't have this open dialogue. So I've been trying to do this with my kids, is trying to give them the cheat codes as they're in their early 20s. This is like, hey man, this is gonna save you a lot of time. For me, when our relationship really kept continuing to go to the next level, it's that. Stop trying to be the one that's right and no, I am right and this is right, and just start saying, who gives a crap if I'm right? Like at the end of the day, what I found out is if I want to be as happy as I possibly can be, the only way that can happen is if I love being around my wife. Yeah. And she's loving and kind and she's into me and all that. And what's it going to take for that to happen? Save space, but I have to make sure that she feels love. She feels wanted physically, emotionally. Because if that is the case, then I guarantee you, like it totally flips the script, right? Because then my focus is not on me. My focus is on her and making sure that, hey, you feel loved, right? You feel secure in us. You know how attracted I am to you. You know how much I'm into you. And, oh, hey, babe, can I help you? What do you need? Hey, you need that and this. And it's just trying to be helpful. And, hey, how can I fill up your cup? Because how do I expect you to fill my cup up when your glass is empty, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm just pouring into your cup, then it's natural. They're going to eventually pour right back into you. And when I figured that out and stopped trying to blah, 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 and I just started focusing on, I married this woman because I'm like madly in love with her. Yeah. So then why don't I just focus on loving her? Yeah. If I just focus on loving her, it doesn't matter. I could be a broke joke, living in a shack on the side of the road, and she'd be there with me because she feels loved and wanted. And when they feel loved and wanted, then you create that space for them to be a little more vulnerable. Because the difference in communication in guys and girls is guys do not have to feel safe to say what's on their mind. Yeah. Women do. Because if they don't feel safe, then they're not going to feel confident that when they share it, you're going to be open to hearing and feeling what they're saying, as opposed to just listening to the words. Yeah. And so I realized that, gosh, you know what? I'm not going to say when I realized that. I'll let my wife say that because she probably realized, it probably was however many years ago. But that's the biggest thing. And it's as simple as that. And it's no different than, like you said, stop focusing on yourself in the relationship. If you want to have a good, healthy, strong relationship, you have to be thinking about the other person, not you. And the more you pour into the other person, suddenly you're sitting there going, well, you don't do this for me, and you don't do this for me, and you do this for me, because you're all focused on what you're not getting. And then suddenly you stop doing that and you just start going, you know what, how can I help you? How can I make your life easier? What do you need, babe? Do you want me to go grab you this? Want me to do this? And you start pouring love into them. But it's like opening Pandora's box. And then just suddenly is like, oh my gosh, my wife's even more affectionate than usually. And she's just pouring love back into me. And that's what, it's kind of like this, it's this dichotomy. It is. That for guys, at least in my experience, is if these are all the things you want as a guy from your wife, it starts with you. It really does. Like, you got to pour into them. You make them feel so loved and wanted and attractive and helpful. Boom, you open it up and they're going to pour everything right back into you. But unfortunately, we live in a very me society. And then you look at every fight any marriage has ever been in. How does that go? Well, you, back and forth. I don't care what marriage it is.
Lose the scoreboard.
That if this is a fight or an argument, that's what it is. And you really think about it. Oh, all I'm doing is focus on what she's not doing. Yeah. Well, I'm not this. I think I'm a pretty good dude, but I'm not perfect. So I'm sure there's plenty of stuff. I'm sure she got plenty of list of things I could be better at, right? Yeah. So why don't I just focus on, hey, you know what? Instead of like me picking at you and what you're not doing and how you're not making me feel this or that, how about I say, what is it that I'm not doing? Or what is it that you want me to do that's going to make you feel more loved by me? And not just more loved, but like you're going to feel like, oh my gosh, my man loves me and he is so into me. Yeah. What things can I do to make you feel that way? Because I promise, if you make them feel loved and make them feel attractive, your woman will live in a cardboard box on the side of the road with you. You know what I mean? You really will.
Yeah, those are good. I echo that.
And hang on real quick. And I say cardboard box on the side of the road because those are the exact words that my wife has said to me.
I love it.
I don't care about the money. Like, I'll live in a cardboard box with you on the side of the road.
See, I'm not sure if I'm a cardboard box.
I'm handy. I'm handy, so I could probably build something better in a cardboard box.
I think that's a real stretch if you want to know the truth. So if you can believe that though. Me and Bunny can talk about that later.
But you know my point.
I know what you're saying.
And for women, and on the flip side, for women, if you want your guy to run through a wall for you, you just have to build them up. That's all you have to do is build them up. Let them know, because a guy needs to feel like he's accomplished. And I'm not saying you have to be successful. I'm saying like you're the super ultra. I'm saying a guy from their woman just needs to feel like, hey, baby, you're out there killing it. You're doing it every day. Like, thank you. There's the guys that like, guys are so simple. Guys want to feel respected and they want to feel appreciated. That's it. I promise you, women, if those are the only two things you focus on, that they feel respected as a man, because nobody wants to feel emasculated and no man wants to feel emasculated. And they want to feel, they just want to feel those two things. And if you do that, I promise you, your guy will run through a wall for you.
Yeah. Those are good points. My brain's taking me in two areas. So I agree with you on the right. So I tell my kids all the time too. And one motto we try to have in our house is you can be right or you can be happy. And the reason I tell them that is because if they're more focused on being right, they're focused on short term winning the argument versus like preserving the relationship. Happy is like, right, the relationship matters more than this thing or whatever toy or whatever you're doing in the moment. But my belief that I've kind of evolved over time is that men are made and women are developed. Like they have to be nurtured and cared for and developed. But men, we like the competition and we like the challenge. So I would even challenge the guys, like the next time you do something that you know is probably not your best self showing up, give your wife an angry foot rub. Like, you know, she's mad at you and you rub her feet anyway. Like, you know, she's not in the right space. You know, she's not in a good mood. You know, she like, so I would have this little game with myself. I've played sports my whole life. So I just started making it a challenge. And I'm like, I know she's pissed. I'm gonna rub her feet. And I'm like, it's gotta stop, right? It's the back rub is just a back rub. Like it's gotta be, that's the safe space. That's the safety net.
Right.
It's like,
That's never happened.
right?
You know what's funny?
That's the safe space.
So let me share with you, myself and my daughter inherited this from me. I have my second youngest. She's a much prettier, more talented version of me as a girl, but she is me.
Thank heaven.
She is me though. She is my personality. She's all these things, and she's just like me. We're both forced lovers. So like with the cat, it's like the cat wants to go. Let the cat go. He's like, no, they're gonna love me back because I'm gonna love them. So I'm also the same way with the times when I know like, oh, she's just not happy with me. I screwed up or I did something stupid. She's pissed. There's sometimes I just walk up and like go to give her, and you try to squeeze out, and I'm like, nope, you're not leaving. You're not leaving. I'm gonna hug you till you love me. And she's like, leave me alone. And I'm like, no, we don't have to talk. I'm not gonna talk, but I'm just gonna hold you, and I'm gonna hug you till you love me. And
there was the kids movie where then one kid grabbed the other's leg, and
this does not work with me at all.
Oh, trust me, she would fight it like, oh my gosh, you're so annoying. Leave me alone. You know, like. This is not what I need you to do right now because you did this and it irritated me. And I'm like, nope.
That might be in the still learning category for you, though. That's okay.
I'm sorry. I'm a guy. Right? I'm a guy. I'm gonna. We're guys. We do things that irritate our wives clearly because we don't catch on to hints and so. Yeah. But at the end of the day, too, it's like I don't know. We just have to, when you become more aware of things or just really dial in on your wife and you're just being more aware of what's going on in her life, that can change a lot for you too, because then you can really understand, okay, where can I be helpful? And are we doing that as a guy? Ask yourself that. And I'm not talking, I mean, are you a roommate or are you really coming home and like noticing, man, my wife she's going through it right now. Like she's got a lot on her plate. She's stressed out. You know, the kids are, you know, not doing what they need to do when they're, you know, she needs them to, which is just making it worse. It's like, okay, where can I help out? Oh, you want me to go take care of the kid? Done. Like let me take this off your plate, But if you're not looking to see what's going on, you just come home and you go through your routine, and then your wife is just sitting here just drowning in emotion and stress, and you're not even paying attention. And if you think for 2 seconds, I mean, women want men to pay attention and notice, and it takes a lot of guys a lot of years to figure that out. So if you have a son, moms, it's also very important to teach your teenage and early 20-year-old sons that, hey, if you want to have a really good relationship, these are, as a husband, these are the kind of things you need to be looking out for. You need to be doing this for your wife and this, you need to be looking out for that. And you need to stay focused on that and don't be focused on yourself and what you need. Yeah. Because I promise, if you just do that, you won't ever be focused on what you need because she will give you everything you need in the world. And it's really that simple. And it's like, why didn't I figure that out when I was 25, 26, right? So you're right. This is the time now. It's a different kind. We're not in the 80s where nobody talks about feelings and, parents are here and kids are to be seen and not heard and you're not allowed in the house till after the street lights come on. So let's change it. Have those conversations with your kids. Like I am having conversations with my daughters. I have an 18-year-old, a soon to be 20-year-old and a 23-year-old. And I'm having those conversations. Hey, you want to have a really healthy relationship? You want to make your man feel safe because a man needs peace too. When he comes home, like that's the thing is like, he's been out there slaying dragons. He wants to come home and be able to relax. Right. And so you can do that just by just by letting him know he's appreciated and making him feel important in the family. Right. It's simple things, but if you can learn that early now, you can avoid a lot of these other, you're not having to figure out on your own. Yeah. Right.
It's really
which could take years
to just be pleasant when they come home.
Oh, no. And really,
just appreciate them.
Well, it's more than that, though. It's just like more of that is like, listen, the two non-negotiables for a guy to give you everything you need is they need to feel, the big one is they need to feel appreciated. That honestly is really that.
I think everybody needs to be appreciated. And I think in any relationship,
but it's a little different though. So you've run this super successful business and stuff. But it's a little different. So you would be experiencing some of the things like how a man would, right? Because you're out of the house most of the day. You're out there slaying dragons. You have the weight of the world because it's up to you to make sure your family's taken care of. And so you were also kind of out of the loop of some things because mom's at home taking care of kids, running them here, running them there, all these different things. And so you're not always in the things. And so sometimes you feel a little bit outside, you're out of the circle a little bit because you're gone working, right? And so just feeling appreciated makes it, okay, this is all worth it.
I think that it's important to appreciate the things you expect. So expectations is something that, and like I said, if you're in this space in perimenopause and menopause, where there's a lot of expectations of you and you don't hit them quite the same, it doesn't feel quite the same. And I think that this goes for men and women and it goes for families. We all have expectations, whether they're spoken or unspoken. And that's where the communication comes in, right? But some of us aren't real great at communication. Me. Probably because I just expect them.
You should know this.
And it's unspoken and follow me, do what I do, and I do it. And so I do have expectations, but it's important, so important to appreciate the things even that you expect. So even with your kids, when your kids do the things that you expect from them, I think that the appreciation is so important. Even when your husband do something that you expect, if you just say, well, yeah, I'm not gonna thank you for doing your job. That kind of thing. I think that the frequency of gratitude in the relationship, the frequency of gratitude in a home can change everything.
Massively change. I started doing that, I don't know, maybe 5-6 years ago. Maybe 5 years ago.
If you can't say a compliment,
right,
which sometimes in a relationship, sometimes a compliment is hard to find, which it shouldn't be. But we're talking reality here,
right?
Like if there can't be a compliment, which I think a woman needs to be complimented.
100%.
And compliments don't come easy to everybody, but you look nice. You smell good. I love that color on you. You know, if there's anything safety to me, it's being told that I'm good. And I
think the noise for women is a lot louder and the voices are a lot more judgmental than typically for most men. I think most women experience a lot more. That's what, when I say that to Lauren, like, I've got to love you, not for the both of us. Like, what I'm saying is I'm like fighting her inner demons,
right,
and trying to fight the world.
And we joke about that because I think in my transition, like, I translate expressions as mean words. Like, they don't even have to be said. And I heard this, or even my kids will hold me accountable. Eric will say something and I heard, or even a text message I read, well, not now, I'm not, and it was like, no, I'm not going there. No, I'm not going there. You know, like, I'm reading this in this spicy, like, not the good spicy, right? Like,
so is there another tip in there, which is, guys, don't send your wife texts, send them voice texts.
Voice text?
So they can hear the intonation in your voice.
Because even in just that little translation, the tone is everything. The tone is everything in everything.
No, especially in a relationship, tone is huge. Tone is huge.
And for women in this age, our tone is sharp, whether we like it or not. And so one thing that can really help is just a man being soft. Women are supposed to be soft. Some women are naturally soft. Some women are not. I'm not a naturally soft woman, except for on vacation, and I am real soft on vacation. But I think that a hard woman that is experiencing these changes, she doesn't like herself. And so I really appreciate that you say, I've got to love you enough for both of us, because the self-love is really hard at this age. Everything that we know and experience and identify with, our identity's being threatened, everything's being threatened. Yeah. It is not a soft time. And so if there can be a soft man, to me, that is a safety net. And that can be really hard, especially when my tone is not soft and I'm not feeling soft. It's really hard to be soft. How do you be soft to somebody who's being hard?
So a really, in my opinion, a really masculine man, a guy that's got some of this figured out, is able to step away from the ego. In an argument, when everything's escalating, he's able to, like, control the calm. Like, I can see that you're not right now. I can see that you're in a space. It might be something else. It might be me. You might be totally, completely justified in, like, the situation or whatever the argument is. But a man can, like, it's the ultimate kung fu master, right? It's like he could take everybody down in the room, but the discipline to harness it. Like, he can step away from the ego for a minute and realize, like, that's not what she needs in this moment. We don't need it. If you need to yell right now, go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and just let you,
and you can be both.
Get that out.
But you can be both, because you're talking about soft. Because there's a dichotomy again.
Yeah.
I want this soft man. But then if you have a soft man, then he's not masculine and this. And then there's this innate thing, like you have a lack of respect. Yeah. Right. And the two things that are most important are appreciation and respect for a man. Right. But you can be both. Yeah. And this is.
And that's,
I used to kind of get, like, when people, like, I heard people say this, I'm like, what? Because, you know, my background, I was very, very type A. I've mellowed. I have 3 daughters, so I've mellowed over the years. But coming out of the Marine Corps, believe me, that enhanced that bravado and that just like, you know.
It's very positional. It's right? It's that,
but I mean, it's just, trust me, Marines are different. We're crazy. But we think we can do anything, right? But it's just, you know, just very rough and very masculine and like, we're going to throw down if we have to, kind of, you know. And people see this in me and like, oh my gosh, like, you know, like they know my personality. This is back when I was younger. Yeah. And then they see me the first time when Bunny would be around, and they were like, who the hell is this dude?
He's a big he's like, teddy bear.
He's like a teddy bunny. He's like, hey, baby, you need something? Hey, you know. And so you can be soft and be very strong and masculine at the same time. What it is in your personal life, be masculine, be the man. And then when you're with your wife, you're like treating them like a piece of china. You're soft and gentle, and that's not that you're not masculine. You're just, that shows that with everybody else, this is this, but you're special, you're different. And so I come down here and I become very soft and gentle and loving, and and your guy friends see that and go, dude, you're whooped, you're a little freaking, look at you, man. I'm like, it's like,
that's one of the hardest
places,
longest distances for a man to ever travel, right? Is where?
Yeah.
He's got to drop out of the head and into the heart. Like it's hard.
And that's a big thing for guys. Think about growing up in high school.
Yeah.
Oh, you're whooped on this girl. Yeah, that's always out there. You're whooped and you're whooped. And it's like, great. Yeah. That's what you should be. Because if you're whooped, I promise you, your woman's going to be just into you. Yeah. Right. And so you can be both. You can be very masculine. You can be the guy that, like, somebody cuts you off. You want to get out of your car and punch this dude's face. Yeah. And that, I'm not saying do that, but I'm saying you can be that, like, hardcore crazy. And at the same time, when your wife's around, you're just this soft, gentle, aware husband. Yeah. And I promise you, if you can figure out, especially the aware part, if you can be soft, gentle, and the aware part, that's when relationships really take off. Yeah. Because now the husband is more aware. And we're catching hints. We still don't catch much hints. Like, it has to be like a super big hint. We're still going to miss 90% of the hints.
I'll tell you the thing that is the thing that I love the most about Eric. And for you little baby marriages, we just had 31.
Ooh.
So we're so much older than you. Just teasing. When I call Eric, he answers, "Hey," like, no matter what, he has a happy tone when he answers the phone. Awesome. And
what does that do to you?
It has saved many.
Like, you're never an interruption, whatever he's doing. Because that's beautiful.
I think sometimes that hello is a barometer. Yeah. And I am so emotional and I am so raw all the time. I just don't sugarcoat things. Like, so it's like, hello. I don't be like, oh, this is Erica. Hey, babe. Even if I'm pissed. Like, that, it would never happen. Yeah. I just don't. Like, I probably should.
Let me ask you this question.
Maybe I could try that.
That's his gift. No, that's his
gift. But I love that he's like, oh, hey, every time.
Can I ask you this question?
Yeah.
And guys, if you are listening, well, we're all scared of our wives. Doesn't matter how tiny you are. Have you ever called him frustrated, stressed, irritated, pissed, and he has his phone, hey, and it instantly kind of brought you down?
Yes.
See, and these are the things.
That's
like
his gift.
That's
one of his gifts.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
so
he's creating this safe space for you in that moment because of what he does there.
I'm never, like, if he walks into the house, and the house is where I work, right? And so I don't get to have, like, a place that I come home to and then the house is my haven. Like, it's always a disaster, right? Like, our homes, like, my bathtub, that's about all I have. For my little bubble. But when he comes in, he always, like, he does a little whistle when he walks in. He always enters with, hey, like, happy. Not me, man. If I'm pissed, like
keys flying on the counter.
But that greeting, his ability to greet me with positivity instantly,
I love that,
reduces
the friction, and I do appreciate it, and it probably has saved me.
Well, you know what though, with and women understand this part too, and men, it's very easy to focus on anybody's flaws.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, women know this better than anybody because
we all have them.
Right.
All have them.
Yeah, but women know this better than anybody because, I mean, not that you focus on other people's flaws, you focus on your own flaws, right? You know what I mean? But
you can focus on all the flaws.
You can focus on all the flaws, but when you stop focusing on the flaws and start, even if you're in the toughest relationship, and you can just step back and say, you know what, I'm going to start focusing on the little things. The way he answers the phone is just awesome. I love that. Okay, well, what else do you like? And stop worrying about things you don't like. Yeah. it's just human nature. When somebody starts to feel loved and wanted and appreciated, whether you're a man or a woman, your behavior is going to start to change. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so there are little things like that. And sometimes you need to step back and think, what are the things that she or he does that nobody else in my life does? Yeah. And then hold on to those, because there's a reason you got married. Yeah. You fell in love, and hopefully you were madly, deeply crazy in love when you got married. And life can just, you get into a routine. Now you have kids, and then you're sports and school and work and blah, blah, blah. And you're getting that. And you really have to spend the time. That's fine. You're having kids and your focus should be kids. But you want to know what? If you want to have an even better, what better life could you have if you're ensuring that your relationship with your wife is good and solid, and that your wife is, that you guys still are in love with each other. Yep. I know everybody love each other, but I'm saying, you know what I mean? Like, yes. You're just still into your woman, because if you have that, everything else is going to be way better, and then think about your kids. Like my kid, I'll just be candid right now. My kids, they probably think we're gross. But I have like straight up, my kids would come to me. I told you this the other day. They were like, my daughter would come.
This is pretty good.
And this is my daughter that I just talked about. Nice. So she is the one that she'll speak her mind. Yeah. She's like, Dad, and she grew up in Kansas City. Her best friend, Cameron, in the same neighborhood, best friend since kindergarten all the way through high school. And she's like, Dad, Cameron's spending the night tonight, and our rooms are next to each other. She goes, can you and Mom, like, for one night, just not have sex? Because I don't want my friend to like hear you guys. But here's the thing, and it kind of seems embarrassing, right? A little bit. But at the same time, I'm sitting here thinking, oh my gosh, how many of my guy friends do I talk to that they don't have a healthy sex life? Maybe a couple times a month if they're lucky. Yeah. Those kind of things.
I talk to guys, I'm like, wow.
And so for me, I'm like, you want to know what? If nothing, I can be embarrassed, but at the same time, it's like, this is what my kids are going to think is healthy. Yeah. And, and if you have that opportunity to connect, physically, that does elevate your relationship. You know what I mean? So my kids at the same time, like, it's kind of funny, a little bit embarrassing, but at the same time, it's like, that's what my kids think are a healthy relationship. So much so they have to come and say, can you like take one night off? Yep. It's kind of funny, but then you're also providing this example to your kids of how a dad should treat their mom, sure. How a husband should treat his wife. And so when your kids are watching, especially your sons, and they see dad, they know dad can maybe be a hothead, or he doesn't take BS from people. But when he comes home, he'll take anything from his mom, because like, he's just a little puppy dog. How can I, like this? He can see that, okay. So strong here, gentle here. For sure. And then your daughters see this is the expectation. Yeah. The person they can be like my husband or the guy I'm going to be with. Yeah, he should treat me like a little princess. Yeah.
I think when you're both fighting on the same side, it makes a big, big difference. I remember asking Lauren, like, when things were more tense and we're figuring stuff out and going through all the changes and all the things, like whether it was post-surgery or other stuff, like just trying to bring it down to some small little win. And I would ask her, like, hey, what does a win look like for you today? Or what would move you towards like a success at the end of the day when you go to bed at night? Like, what would have been like, hey, today felt accomplished? What are the top couple of things? Do you have anything on your plate? What's a priority? Something. And like, there's anything that falls in there that you can get out in front of, help with, be part, like,
that's what you can fix.
Small stuff.
Yeah, those are the things you can fix. Right? But what can I fix for you that's not you, babe?
And I've learned over the years that there's a lot of stuff that I can get out in front of. So I start the teapot and I do that. And I'm like, gets up and there's just a few things and I'm like, it just rolls and it's smoother.
I will share, in my, you were mentioning, like, what do we know that our strengths and our weaknesses are? And those things may change a little bit as circumstances change, but the general personality things, like, quite frankly, I can't online shop. I order it wrong every time. Like, I can't pay attention to a deal. Like, I can't. And so I forever send Eric a link and he buys it. And I'm so grateful that he's not like, could you just please figure this out? Like, what are you helpless? Why do I even buy you a phone? Or, whatever. Like, he is always happy, to do that thing that I hate. I can't register the kids for anything. It's not my thing. And he does that. And I can show that appreciation, and give him those ways to serve me. I think that I'm not always great at asking for help, but I think that as women, or even as a husband, if we're going to talk to husbands, like, I love being asked, is there anything that I could take off your plate? And even if it's just, this needs to be picked up, or could you just handle dinner, or, whatever that is. The second thing that Eric really stepped up, and I will be grateful forever about, is that when I started, I don't know, I was going to feel so emotional, but when I had gained this big chunk of weight, and I was the heaviest I'd ever been, and I'd had the hysterectomy, I hadn't figured out the hormones yet, and I felt terrible. And we had a kid getting married, and I was like, I'm at my all-time heaviest. And he knew, because I think everybody on the planet probably knew how mad. I mean, I was, and he said, let's get a trainer. And he said, let's. And he wasn't in the prime of his body either.
That's on the same side. That's beautiful.
And he and I went together every Tuesday and Thursday for 3 years. And I'm terrible at consistency. And I don't like waking up. And he was the consistent one. And
that's blazing the trail. That's the man.
We went and worked out with women.
Yep.
He was the only guy there.
Yep. Love it.
And he knew that if I didn't have that support, I wouldn't have gone. And that's really the only reason why I had success, is because he was the consistent one. And he needed it too, but he could have done it on his own.
Yeah.
And I was a pain in the butt, And so when I got to a certain place, and he was like, sick of working out with you ladies. I need a man trainer now, and I need to go to a man gym. And I was like, yeah, get out.
But what a great thing though, because like that's the other thing is two things. One, knowing what your strengths and weaknesses are and what mine are. And when I know that, hey, you're not going to get up in the morning. I can get up in the morning. I'm that kind of person. I'll make sure we're going, even though I don't really want to work out. I'm fine with not working out, but I know you need that. It's like filling those gaps, looking for ways to fill the gaps, and then also having realistic expectations. Don't expect something from your spouse that is a gap for them. We have different personalities. Like you and I are similar, and Eric and Bunny are similar.
Yeah.
Whereas we're like these A-type, and they're super social, and they could walk outside and in 5 minutes they're best friends with somebody, right?
So annoying.
Now, if Eric expected you to go
Lauren's social
outside,
anxiety, she's like, how did you just talk to that person? And how do you know their life story? I'm like, it's a gift. I don't know.
but if he were to expect you to be just turn around and line start talking to somebody, and then and you're just quiet the whole time, and then after you get in the car, it's like, man, you're so boring. Why don't you talk to people? What an unrealistic expectation. That's not your personality. That's his personality, right? So looking at that too, and having those realistic expectations, see how you can fill gaps for your spouse that is not their thing, and have realistic. Don't expect them to do things that's not their personality.
I think at this time in your life, when you feel like a woman wants to feel sexy, and she wants to feel beautiful, and she wants to feel attractive. And actually, right now in my life, I probably feel the most, if I'm being honest, attractive to my husband as I've ever felt. And I've had to do some work on making some decisions that I wanted to love myself. I wanted to.
Can you clarify just a little bit? Do you think, you say this is the time in your life where Eric feels the most attracted, or you feel, you can feel that he is the most attracted to you?
No, I'm just talking about how I feel about myself.
Yeah. Attractive for him.
Okay.
I feel like, I feel good about myself.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I wanted to make that happen for myself, because I was kind of tired of beating myself up for many, many years. And the 5 years ago me, I didn't want Eric to see me naked. I didn't want to be in a sexual situation, certainly not with the light on, certainly not for an extended amount of time, certainly not with any kind of regularity. And that was not because I didn't like it. It wasn't because I didn't like him. It was because I didn't like me. It didn't, he could be the best at all the things. He could be doing all the things. He could be doing the dishes.
Those
he could
are
be
the things.
scratching my back.
Those are the things she's talking about. You hear that, right? Things.
Well, and this is an important thing for guys to listen to and hear, because sometimes we don't understand this part.
I mean,
it's nothing you're doing. I don't feel good about me. And
you said something like, I need to make her feel wanted. I felt wanted. I knew he wanted sex.
yeah.
I knew he wanted me. I was not like, oh, I wonder if he wants sex. No, I knew. But I didn't love me.
Had to get there for you. Yeah.
I didn't have access to the vulnerability to let him look at me, because I couldn't look at myself. There's nothing that he could have said to make me feel good about myself.
Happy.
Because I couldn't be convinced. I honestly knew that he didn't care that I was 30 pounds overweight. He would have sex with me and he would tell me that. I knew. That didn't make me feel sexy. It didn't make me feel excited.
Yeah. Well, we live in this society where there's all this, what's the number one thing women are focused on because of our societal norms? Over every single thing, the number one on top of the list is weight. And then when you get to this stage in life, and I know we talked about it on different podcasts, so if you haven't been listening to the podcast, I'm just going to repeat it. You could be doing everything right. You're in perimenopause, so your hormones are shifting, they're decreasing. You could eat perfect, and you could work out 6 days a week and still gain 40 pounds. Yeah. If your hormones, and for guys, it's not that way. If a guy, yes, we have hormones.
You cut out Dr. Pepper at lunchtime and you lose 20 pounds.
Right. But even with a guy, if your testosterone's low, okay, you might put a little weight on. You could put weight on easier if you're not eating good. If you eat good, you probably won't gain weight. And you might be a little bit tired. Maybe your sex drive's dropped. The end. For women, you could be doing everything right and you're still putting the weight on. And I can tell you this because I saw it in my practice. I saw women come in. I had this one patient that she was a personal trainer, a massage therapist, super into natural health, and a personal trainer. She trained 5 days a week, people. So she knows how to work out. She works out 6 days a week. She was like late 20s. And because she was working like that, she didn't have time to make food. So all of her food, she ordered from a company that made pre-made paleo meals. Like she ate super clean. And she comes to my office and goes, I just gained 40 pounds in the last 60 days. And it doesn't make any sense to me. I work out 6 days a week and I'm a personal trainer and I eat as clean as you can possibly clean.
Like that it would just put me in over the edge.
Right. So the number one thing is the top of the list for all women, which is weight. Yeah. And you get to this point in your life where, it can be completely out of your hands. And now you start putting weight on. So then it creates all these feelings about yourself.
But it is interesting, and I don't mean to cut you off.
No.
I don't think self-love is all tied into the weight. Like,
No, I'm not saying self-love.
And-
I'm saying that's one of the number one things that women, is a barometer for women,
Yeah.
is weight. There's other things too, but I'm just saying.
and so when you feel crappy about yourself, it's really hard to be vulnerable in
Right.
that relationship, right? And here's the tricky thing. For women, if they decide to love themselves and have compassion for themselves, the weight starts to come off. The change starts to happen. It's the self-hate that causes you to hang on. And then when the self-compassion comes, the sexiness can come in.
Right. Well,
Even, and it doesn't have to be like linked to your weight or how you look or how you feel. It's how you feel about yourself. And so husbands, helping a woman feel good about who she is, not necessarily how she looks. Because if you say, "Oh, you look beautiful," and your wife is like, "Don't even try it because I feel
Well, and this is the time where guys, we need to, it's less words and it's more actions. So instead of saying you look beautiful, it's walking up and just giving them a hug and saying, "Oh my gosh, what's going on here?" You know what I mean? So it's more, this is the time in life in your relationship where you need to be more aware of situations. And yeah, you could be the best husband in the world. And yeah, I always tell my wife she's beautiful and all this, like, that's fine. And in this stage of life, it's more than words. They need to feel it. They need the hug. They need the physicality, the touch.
And it's compliments that maybe aren't tied to your looks. It's compliments tied to your identity.
Yeah.
It's appreciation tied to not what you do for people, but who you are and how you contribute. It's saying things like, "I'm just so thankful for you," in a hug, or "I really missed you today," or "Could we just spend some time together?"
I can't wait to get home. I can't wait to get home. To be with you.
I think that,
I'm glad you're my wife. I'm glad you're my best friend. I'm glad we get to fight through
or
life
just
together.
you're my best friend.
Yeah.
And you are amazing. And I see you. I think that every person needs to feel seen. And moms are a little bit invisible in all the
They're
things.
the unsung heroes. They're doing all the things that nobody sees, right?
And if I had any advice for a man, it's to see his wife, to see her in what she does and in who she is.
Yeah.
Because if we can love ourselves for who we are, then we're not trying to be something to get that love. And I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not blowing smoke, but this is when women actually find out who they are. This is the time, right? And this is where it's a little bit of a transition, is that you stop trying to earn it and you start being a little resentful of having to earn it, so that when you realize, actually, if you can't love this and appreciate this, then we have no business here, because this is not anything else. And so if a man can come and say, "I don't need anything else for you. You are perfect the way you are, and I couldn't do it without you. Mm-hmm. You are who I want. You don't need to do a dance. You don't need to be anything else except for you." That is where there is safety. And that is when a woman decides, this is who I am, and I need you to love me right here. And if a husband, just what you said, I need to love you for both of us. If a husband can say, "You are perfect the way you are," then a woman can decide, I can love me too. If you love me right here, maybe I can too. And at age 25, she's not saying, I need you to love me for me. She's doing, what can I do?
Right.
At age 35, she's like, what can I do? But at age 45 and age 50, you're like, okay.
Well, you have those different phases of life. Now, this is a phase of life where, trust me, there's been phases of life where my wife was way more aware of me and what's going on and being more sensitive to my situation in life. And now this is a time where, you know, you have those ebbs and flows. Now it's my turn to be way more dialed in. You know, we give some suggestions to the guys and hacks, but, you know, you said something earlier when you said, you know, I love when Eric does this. Here's a hack for the ladies. Guys, all of our actions are one of two things. They're deliberate or they're just actions and we're not even thinking. There's no thought behind the action. And so there's things sometimes that we're doing that you all absolutely love. Oh, hey, on the phone, right? You love that. And a lot of times those actions, there's no thought behind it. That's just, we're just doing it. And we don't know that it makes you feel that way and you love it.
It would be great to know.
And if you, because then what guys are, I told you, we're very simple creatures. You tell a guy something like, baby, when you do this, I don't know if you realize, I know it's little, it's not the big deal, maybe it's dumb, whatever, but I love it. And it makes me feel like this and this. Oh, I guarantee you that guy, now that's like, okay, now I have 5 things that I'm doing deliberately. You know what I mean? Like suddenly, trust me, a guy's going to be like, oh, really? We are going to be super aware of that. Yep. And we're going to go out of our way to make sure that we do that quite often. Yeah. And I think
very reward-centered brain.
We are very reward.
Move that to the very important column.
But we're that simple though too. If you don't tell us, it'll happen when it happens because there's oftentimes we don't realize. But when we know that our woman really appreciates something, we add that to our little vault of like things that we're going to do all the time.
Eric has always been like a nail chewer. And I made some comment like his nails had gotten kind of longer. I was like, oh, I just love it when you have nails so you can scratch my back. And now he's like, he's got a file and he's like, got this cuticle oil because he's just managing his, because he just wants to have his,
right? But you're saying it's a simple thing, but now all he's doing, guys are built to want to please their women. We just need to know how to do it. And we learn early on in life that women think that we're way smarter than we are when it comes to these things. And they drop hints and they assume we should know. But as soon as we know, then we start doing it, right? Yeah. And so, like I said, if there's something think about this, if there's something that your spouse is doing that you're like, you know, or it's done, you're just like, you know what, I really do appreciate when you do this. And my wife, she has her things that she does that I'm like, oh my gosh, this here is better than sex. You know what I mean? I mean, that's a joke. But I mean, this is amazing. I love it. I feel like when you do this. If I would
just rinse the blender, Eric would be just happy forever. And it's just so much work for me. I don't know.
But I even do that even with her on the flip side is aware of women are and stuff. When I've even turned around and said, oh my gosh, when you do this, like this thing right here makes me feel more loved than anything else you do. And even me telling her that, I mean, she always kind of did it anyways. But when I told her that, now it increased in how often she did it. Because now she's aware. Because we all want to please our spouse, right? Yeah. And sometimes it all comes down to the communication. But you have to, especially in this time of life, we just have to be more aware, more sensitive to what's going on. Because believe me, let's be honest, guys, if guys had to be women, the human race would have ended a long time ago. I mean, if you've ever taken care of your husband with the flu or a cold, can you imagine him having a period? He would. The human race would have never happened, right?
Our 17-year-old sons with periods. That's the funniest thought,
right? Isn't that so? It is, but it's like it's just there. This is something that guys we can never understand. The perimenopause and menopause. Yeah. We can never understand it because there is no feeling that we can feel physiologically that could mimic it.
Don't try.
And don't try, but just understand that it sucks. It's not like it does not, it is, it gets time in life where it throws your emotions, it affects your weight, all these things like here. And you feel like you're in this roller coaster. And as guys, we can't truly relate to it. We can pay attention. And that's the thing, pay attention. Yeah. And this is a time in life when you, as a guy, need to be a lot more sensitive, be a lot more understanding, be a lot more, how can I help you? Great. Make them feel loved, make them feel loved and wanted, especially the wanted part. It's one thing to feel loved. I love you. Hey, love you, babe, love you. Make them feel wanted. And a lot of that comes with other things. Like you said, it's not about, it's like, oh my gosh, like, you're so amazing. Thank you for being such an amazing mom, and not just about the physical parent. Oh, you're so beautiful. Well, of course she's beautiful. You probably wouldn't have married her if you didn't think she was beautiful, right? But you focus on other things and focus on just pay attention more. Really, just pay attention more. And because there's going to be days that are different and you're like, you know what? You just need a hug.
Have your awakening. Yeah. It's awesome.
Awakening.
There's life after that. A lot of life. Yeah. A lot of awesome.
And then you won't be golfing as much as you are because you're trying to avoid the situation of your wife going through menopause, right?
It fills with even better things. Yeah.
Yeah. And then think about how it comes out on the other end, right? I look at it. I don't know that Bunny's out on the end. She's not. I mean, she's in menopause, I'm sure. But it's more at the beginning part that is like the harder part, because it's hitting you.
Let me ask you this, John. What do you do to make you happy?
It's pretty simple. Movement, music, nature. A few simple things.
What do you do to make you happy?
Like physical activity? What makes me happy? If I'm being totally honest, like when I feel totally wanted and loved by Bunny, like I'm not doing dumb things that's irritating. I'm a puppy. So if I'm being loved on, like that's what, because I don't, we're best friends. I work from home, so we're around each other 24/7. I don't do guys' nights. That's not like, if I'm going to do something, I'm like, I'm going to go to my best friend, And so for me, it's spending time. What makes me happy is when I'm spending time with my wife and I can tell she's extremely happy with me. And I can tell she's into me, like all those things. That's what drives me.
I think it's important for the men to manage their happiness and not expect their wives to.
Happiness is an inside job.
Yeah. And that goes on both sides in a relationship. But if a man coming to a woman who is in this volatile place and be a rock and be a comforting rock rather than a critical voice, that's probably the best thing you can possibly do. And, recognize that this person is becoming better, and she will. I think that's something that I love about this time for me, is the way, and I guess why I wanted to do Shift is because this is such an incredible opportunity to set yourself up for happiness and success the rest of your life, right? And you've given so much to your family in the years leading up to this. This really is your time, and it isn't a forever thing. As this woman figures this out and things work out, what you have on the other side of this is so much better than you've ever had, as long as you can support it rather than be critical of it.
Well, and most people, most ladies going through menopause, they don't realize that they can feel good through menopause. Because we talked about in the last episode, it's about being, like, if there's nothing else we do here, is that we help to educate and help you be more informed so that you can go learn. And just so you know, you can feel great in menopause. You can lose the weight. You can also emotionally and physically and energy. You can feel all these great things. You just have to go get your hormones checked. And then if they're off, which they will be, get on hormone therapy. And you make your way through that, and you will, while your friends are miserable and not happy and dealing with some really horrible stuff, or just feeling crappy and not feeling good about themselves, and here you are, and they're like, how the heck are you so happy? You're the same age as me. You got to be going through menopause too. Like, what's going on? Like,
suffering through it.
I'm not suffering through it.
I will say, a little testosterone goes a long way.
Tell the men too, I'll close out with this. Learn how to surf. You're riding a wave all month long, right? You're 4 different personalities each week of the cycle. We've got a 24-hour cycle. We don't know what that's like. Our rhythm hits every day. And we're like, it's pretty easy to get in a routine. No wonder. Simple creatures. So yeah, learn how to surf, man. Like, it's worth the effort to figure out. Like, there should be no guy that cheats ever again, right? Because you got 4 different women, all different weeks of the month. Like, you've got
understand from a kid's thing. Understand, men are the toy where it's square in the square, round in the round, and women are Rubik's cube, constantly changing. It's hard to figure out,
but also not all at the same time.
But you can't put it down.
Yeah,
right.
And with that, you guys, thank you, John, for being here.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
I hope that you'll share this with your husbands and your brothers and your sons, and it's also for the women. This is not easy, but it's so worth it. And we hope you come back next time for another episode of The Shift.